Welcome to the Car Guys and welcome to the Porsche 911 C4S Targa.
We're going to spend some time seeing what these cars like to live with, how it drives, and discover whether this is a hidden gem in the Porsche 911 range.
So first of all, this car is Carmine Red, not the normal Guards Red.
Slightly darker red, I quite like it.
The Targa for me is probably one of the most interesting of the 911 range, the 991.2. The Targa was first introduced in 1965, and back then it was a safe way of having the open air experience, because remember you had convertibles before that, but convertibles could flip over. So Porsche came up with this quite ingenious solution of having this sort of rollover hoop, which would give you pretty much all of the convertible experience, but with that added safety feature. And also remember, on those early cars, instead of a piece of glass at the back here, it was actually a sort of zip-up plastic screen.
In the original cars it was, yeah, totally.
So you could unzip it and then that whole bit would fall back
down,
so
yeah.
that would be open and that would be open. You've got this big B-pillar, very, very distinctive, really good looking, gives it a really upright stance. This in the originals would have been sort of a brushed stainless steel effect, so it's similar.
They've tried to get back to that, haven't they?
Yeah, they tried to, but obviously it's a little bit of a dull, plasticky look. We actually owned a 1985 example of the Targa, so you know, seeing the very latest one here is actually it's actually quite a treat. What people don't realise is just how quick these latest 911s are. This car here, in its spec, in Sport Plus mode, will do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. And many people believe, having tested the car, that you can actually do it in a sub 3.5 second time, and that Porsche's times tend to be very conservative.
I mean, that's frankly ridiculous, because this is the lardy version out of the range, right? 3.5 seconds is what a 997 turbo used to do 60 miles an hour in. And that's not that long ago. This car does a quarter mile in just over 11.5 seconds. 11.5 seconds, you know what else does it in that time?
What?
A Lamborghini Countach and an F40. An F40! This is a quick across a quarter mile as an F40. 420 horsepower from that lovely 3-litre turbocharged engine. The old S was 3.8 litres. They've gone back down to 3 litres, give it a bit more torque.
Oof, a bit more oof.
368 pound-foot of torque against the 420 horsepower. I mean, this is a properly quick car.
So some of the headline stats then for this Targa. Remember, this is a 3-litre 24-valve flat 6. It's a twin turbo, weighs 1,580 kilograms.
That is quite lardy.
It's quite lardy, but to put it into perspective, 1,430 for the coupe, 1,500 for the convertible, and then when you get into the Targa, it's then 1,580. But if you then go for the GTS version of the Targa, that's 1,605. And in terms of 0 to 60, again, coupe, 4.4 to 4.6 seconds, depending on your gearbox configuration. Then you've got your convertible at 4.6, and then this at 3.8. Top speed, again, a similar story. The coupe, just over 180 miles an hour. The convertible, 180 miles an hour, and this 187, and the GTS 190. And do you know whose favourite car this is?
Oh, go on. Mine?
No, not yours. JK from Jamiroquai.
Oh, really?
This is one of his favourite cars. He looked at this and he went, do you know what? That's my favourite 911, that is. I've got 2 of them. I've got 2 of these. I've got a limited edition one, and I've got a GTS.
Was he from the East End of London?
Yeah, it's well known. It's well known.
Did you smoke a lot?
Yeah. His singing voice is very different from his talking voice.
Although you couldn't wear one of them big hats in there, could you?
Not really.
Well, you could. That's why he loves it.
That's why he likes
loves
it. So he can wear his big hats.
Wear his big hats.
What I like about the Targa is that it's rarer than the other body variants because not many people bought them. It's a bit of an acquired taste. Those in the know to buy the Targa. but the majority of people have bought coupe and obviously convertible, the look at me convertible. It's 10 millimeters lower overall, the car, gives it a bit more meaningful stance, and also there's the option of rear wheel steer, which actually this car does have.
Yep.
So although perhaps interior, some of the options have been skipped, some of those little fancy bits inside, where it counts, this car's got it.
Going to have a look at the roof section of this car. This whole panel here is all one single piece of glass, but actually the panel connects around this line here. So as you see, as we open it up, that enormous bit there.
Now you've got to remember that the roof itself is a very complex piece of automotive art. The whole back of the car moves up and away from the bodywork, but what a piece of theatre it is.
So now the roof, the centre section's gone, unlike the 80s car where you had to kind of get in with your knee, jiggle it around, get underneath it and pull it out without ripping the paint with all the nice studs. This thing obviously folds away, very neat and tidy. There we go, a Targa tops 911, perfect.
So as you can see, the size of this car actually extends about a foot behind the back of the car. So when you do put the roof back, you've got to be really careful not to be too close to a wall or another car. And it's also part of the reason why this operation cannot be done whilst the car is moving. You've got to stop the Targa to activate this enormous piece.
This continuous LED brake light that goes across the back, which obviously now in the 992s has been carried over. These dimpled rear lights as well, this is the first time we've seen these in this particular version. This is another really cool feature, and actually Porsche came out with these on a 997 GT3, was the first time since the early 80s where they'd actually put the exhaust pipes together coming out the back of the car as opposed to coming out each side. I'm not so keen on the oval, I prefer them to be round, but that's just because I'm old school.
I love these beautiful Fuchs effect wheels, these sort of anniversary wheels. It really evokes old 911s, the 60s 911s. It just looks fantastic on this modern car.
So sitting inside this 911, just a couple of little details to point out. This car comes with the carbon pack, which gives you this lovely detail across the dashboard. It's quite sparse in here. This is obviously not massively spec'd, but it's comfortable enough. Full leather seats, which are very comfortable. We don't have the carbon backs, but you know, whatever. PDK gearbox. It does have the chrono pack, which gives us this lovely clock in the middle, and the extra module on the steering wheel to adjust Sport Plus, which is actually a carryover from the 918. That's where this first appeared and was used to move between electric power and engine power. Right, so I'm stood here between our 1989 930 Turbo and this 911.2 Targa. Now, the thing that everyone talks about on the internet is how enormous these modern Porsches have got and how we should always go back and hark back to the old days when they were only little. Well, I can tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Relatively speaking, this 1989 Porsche is not that much shorter than this one. The difference, I think, is the width. This car is much wider than the old car, even in its turbo wide bodied form. Yes, this is the one with the big hips, and because of the way the styling's been done, here you can see actual arches on this car. They actually flare out from the body, whereas on this car it's a much more smooth, more jelly molded shape, which makes it feel bulkier. She's got a very much larger bottom area than the older cars.
So here we are out in the C4S Targa 991.2. It's not the greatest of days, but we got the roof off because that's what Targa people do.
Oh,
can you hear the
whistly turbo?
That's a bloody whistly turbo, isn't it?
That's a really whistly turbo. I quite like that.
I think the Carrera T had a lot more than I was expecting as well. I think these new Porsche cars are just very whistly. I mean, you can't beat this sort of lovely Targa experience. You know, nice bit of wind in your hair, although it is quite blowy.
Wind in you what?
Wind in your hair.
Maybe 20 years ago, mate.
The wind in my hair. But it does get quite blowy, I have to say. I think a downside of this car, I don't know what the 1985 one was like.
It's a very similar experience, because what you've basically got there is a very large area that catches the wind and sends it all the way back round again. So sides, you're kind of creating a mini cyclone.
As complicated and as horrendous looking and scary and architectural as this roof is, and I mean, let's face it, it's going to go wrong.
Oh God, yeah, totally.
Because you're moving such a huge piece with these little brackets.
The strain of it as it tries to lift that panel back up. Brilliant.
So that's a possible Achilles heel of this model. As bad as that is, it's still streets ahead of the old clicky, snap your fingers, rip off your nails, fold. So you had to like
handles,
clip it, pull it out, then you had to fold it down and then put it away. This car was obviously named after the famous race, the Targa Florio, which Porsche won a lot of times. So it's in Sicily, and this is sort of named in its honour.
It feels very sure-footed.
Well, four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive.
So it's as safe as it can be.
Safe as ours is.
And it's got more power. So, I mean, I don't know if you saw the Tiff Needell review of the previous generation of this. His biggest criticism
was that Norman Wisdom or Tiff Needell?
Norman Wisdom. Norman Wisdom also reviewed the car. He hates
Targas.
He hates Targas.
Oh, mate.
The biggest criticism was the lack of power. So the more weight and the lack of power was what he said was worse, and they've addressed that, I think, with this. So Sport Plus, all the lights come on. So we've got the loud exhaust, we've got the tighter suspension, beanage. Wow, I mean, it just goes. It's just like the turbo, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it hunkers down. It puts down that power. There wasn't a hint of traction control.
Oh, no,
there was nothing. No. This has been calibrated perfectly to put down the power that it's got. Hello, what's this? We're getting some rain.
We have to go faster.
No, that means we have to put the roof up.
We don't get wet.
We have to put the roof up now.
All right, let's pull over.
Put it there.
Because we have to. Oh, this is a real world test.
It is.
English B road. Beautiful summer's day. 30 seconds later. Stop. Put the roof up.
Deluge. I see what you mean about the paddles. They are very small, aren't they? They're nice metal items. So it feels high quality. Everything in here feels very high quality, tactile, well put together, as you would expect from Porsche. Oh, look at that, it just goes. It does remind me an awful lot, actually, of the 997 Turbo S that I had.
Right.
Which had similar paddles. They felt matte.
That was a properly quick car. Though. That really did feel fast.
But I think this is the same speed now.
I think it probably is. Yeah.
And but the feel of it, that feeling that you could absolutely, no matter what you were doing, you'd put your foot down and it would just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does have that.
Now I remember bringing the Gallardo through this bit of road. I also remember exactly. That's exactly right.
Nomine si Patris, Spiritus Sancti.
That's the other issue I have with the Targas, is how much they cost. They are really, really, really expensive.
I think this is the first time that you could almost argue that they're worth it, though. Before they were slow, so heavy, slow, but they looked cool. Now you've got fast, they look cool, so everything's there. But do you want to know a little secret that these cars have got?
Yeah, go.
You see this 918 derived control module thing on the steering wheel?
Yeah.
So you would use it to change between normal, sport plus, and then individual. But did you know about the sport response button in the middle?
I had no idea.
Can you see that?
I can.
That is an actual button called the Sport Response button.
Sport Response button. Is that like, does a light come on the roof? Is that like if someone's not going fast enough, we have to track them down and murder them or put them in prison? No?
Funnily enough, it's not that.
Oh.
No. When you press that button, just like, for example, in Formula 1 or the Fast and the Furious, it gives you maximum acceleration for 20 seconds.
Does it?
I shit you not.
Why? Okay. That's fantastic, and we're just about to go onto a road where we can test this.
Right, let's see what happens.
Go.
Oh,
so that properly kicked everything down.
Look, that sport response comes on and it's got a countdown, counting down from 20 seconds, which gives us maximum acceleration for a proper mad overtake.
Wow.
How cool is that?
Well,
very cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
Come on.
It's not gimmicky whatsoever in any way, shape or form.
It's like hyperspace.
Here's my problem with it. If I want maximum acceleration for any period of time, be that 1 second or an hour, I usually activate that by pushing my foot very hard to the floor.
Imagine that scenario though, okay? We're driving along,
Yeah.
you see an overtaking opportunity and you decide to go for it and pull out, but you've not really got it in the right gear. There's a lorry coming towards you.
Oh my God, oh my God.
I'm not going to make it.
Completely cock this up, push
Press
the
me sport response button.
button. Light speed.
Yep, straight into the front of the lorry. At twice the speed you would have been doing.
Do you have to hold it, or do you just push it?
I don't know. I held it because I was terrified, but I mean, I have no idea. I mean, look.
Just push
Press. Just press it.
Just push
there you
it.
go. So now we've got
Oh yeah. Oh,
maximum power. Everything's been tuned to make us go as quickly as possible.
Actually,
8,
you know what?
7, 6, 5. Oh. It's incredibly sure-footed. It's well damped. It's luxurious.
Yep.
It does what a 911 does, which is everything really well.
I know, and I hate them for it. With a passion, honestly, I do.
Hate seems like a strong word.
Oh, is it that time?
It's that time. Here we go. Are you ready, folks?
Here we go.
Full bore acceleration.
Nail it.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Sure-footed. That is what Porsche does so well. It translates power into forward motion better than anyone else. Oh, that did feel good. It was like it was, I think, with all turbos, a big whoosh and a surge, wasn't it? And you could feel the torque, yeah, just torque just shoving you down the road.
Down the road.
Oh, get down there, you slag.
That's why we love them talks. Oh, with the old blippy down change as well. I mean, this is a fairly damp, cold piece of road.
And it's dispatching it like that.
Overtake button.
No need for the overtake button. Whew.
Right, lunch. Yes, I like Porsches now.
I like Porsches, me. I love them.
They really truly are proper sports cars in that respect.
I like from this point of view, I can look out through the wing mirror and I can see a lovely big bulgy wheel arch and I can see that lovely Targa script. They also do a fantastic limited edition version of this called the Exclusive Design Edition, which only comes in a classic Porsche colour called Etna Blue, and it's got the script down the side and everything. It just looks amazing on this car. This is a perfect hunting ground for a 911 British B road.
That's a nice up change of decibels there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm loving that.
It's good, isn't it? So capable.
Loving that.
Bit more noise because it's the Targa, which is good.
Yeah.
Not really. We're not feeling compromised by the roof either. It doesn't feel like more wobbly.
No, it really doesn't. There's no scuttle shake.
I think with the roof off, you will notice it a little bit more. There's no doubt. It's
This locks in really nice.
Yeah. Pedal to the metal. Oh, Sheaston Fenster. Last time we were going along this road was when you put an F40 into a hedge.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I'm not worried. I am worried. I'm very worried.
I'm worried.
I think he's going to go for it, ladies and gentlemen. I think he is. He is. We are going for it. 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, tight right hand end.
How tight?
Quite tight. Tighter than that.
Like, just slowing fast out is what this car is all about.
Yeah, I mean, there can be no doubt. I think if you had one of these, you would be very happy.
I think you would be very happy.
So roof off as well. What do you think about rigidity?
Yeah, it's a bit more wobbly.
A bit more wobbly, yeah.
It is a bit more wobbly.
They didn't specify a front lift, but they specified warm seats. So what that tells us about the first owner of this car is that they lived in a very flat place.
Very flat place, yes.
And they possibly had arthritis. Nothing behind it, so technically we can put the roof back up now. Want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Here it comes. There's a car behind us. Wait.
We haven't got long enough. We haven't got long enough. We have got long enough. Wait. We haven't.
There you go, look. There you go.
It's taking too long. It's taking too long. We're going to get tooted.
There you go, go. Yeah, that was a bit too long. Well, C4S Targa, driven. Final thoughts, Mr. Jason?
I love the shape. I love its sure-footedness. I love its competence.
Ooh.
I love its versatility. 4 seats, roof off, roof on. Pretty much a very good all-rounder.
They've made it a very safe, as you say, very competent. I mean, it does everything that you could ever want. It goes bonkers fast. It's incredibly sure-footed, but it's lost a little bit of the 911 magic.
Yeah, it has, and I think that's the problem. That's my issue. And we are too spoiled in the 911
Yes, we are.
remit because we've got the GT3, and that thing is bonkers.
This is a fast car. Porsche has definitely addressed all the concerns of the previous model.
Oh yeah, this thing's not slow, and it hides its weight amazingly. If I was in the market for a 911, I wouldn't be able to have a GT anyway because I'd need the 4 seats. I would have this over a coupe and over a cabriolet every single day of the week.
Whereas I think I'd probably go for the Turbo S. I think I'd do a
Would
Turbo
you?
or Turbo S over one of these. I love the car, but I would worry about the long-term viability of that roof.
That huge panel.
Yeah, to me, it just seems a little bit... It seems like it could be a weak point. Maybe in 3 years' time, is it going to open?
I'm not sure those gas struts are rated for more than...
So I think that's a potential weak point on the car. But it is, I mean, I do still love it. I can sort of see what JK's on about. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this look at the C4S Targa.
Don't forget to leave comments, ding the notification bell when we've got another video uploaded.
Ding!
And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all other social media channels.
There'll be another video along next week.
Cheers.